have to make sure you're in degrees. And it should spit out, what did we say sine was? Square root of 2 over 2.707, right? So you'll write down 0.707. Secant of 120. If you notice, there's not a secant button. So, but secant, remember if I ignore the s, that's the inverse of cosine, remember? And the inverse button's right here in yellow. So you go secant of 120. Yeah, actually, maybe, I think I'm wrong about the inverse button. But secant of 120, that's the inverse of sine. Is there a secant button on here? I can't remember. Give me a second. Remember, there's a secant button. Well, I guess I could do it this way. 1 divided by cosine. That should work. You see why I did that? I forgot that these aren't the secants and cosecants. I taught this. But it's the inverse of sine. So it's 1 over, I'm sorry, the inverse of cosine. So it's the inverse of 1 over cosine of 120. Does that make sense? So if it's the inverse, just put 1 over it. Like cosecant is the inverse of sine, so it'll be 1 over sine of, looks like negative 45. And then down here, sine of pi over 6, and the pi button's right here. Now notice, it's not going to spit out the correct answer. Not that you would probably know, but because that's pi's, I need to change this to radians. And then type it in. And I get 0.5. So when you're dealing with pi's, make sure you change your mode to radians. Does that make sense? And if you're talking about the inverse, just type in 1 over that. And I'm pretty sure they have the cosecant and stuff in here somewhere. I just don't remember where. All right, we're almost done. Let's do an example. Let's say we have a right triangle. And let's say this is my reference angle. And we have these values, 6, 8, and 10. Now let's fill in the trig ratios for sine of theta, of that angle. That's what we call that, theta. So this will be my h. It's always my h. Reference angle, opposite my reference angle, this is my O, and this would be my A. You can't really see my O. So going through the ratio, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So 8 over 10. Right? And by the way, make sure you reduce these. 8 over 10 reduces to 4/5. you need help reducing fractions, just talk to me. Cosine of that angle, ca, a over h, a 6, h 10, which reduces to 3/5. So in your homework, cosine of theta equals 3/5. And then the tan of theta is TOA. So O is 8, A is 6, which if you reduce that is 4/3. Now, cosecant is the inverse of sine, so you just flip the fraction. Secant is the inverse of cosine, so you just flip the fraction. And cotangent is the inverse, so you just flip the fraction. Does that make sense? Now, what if the reference angle is over here? Well, that changes things, right? You want to use the same dimensions? I think that would actually be a smart idea. So let's still use 6, 10, and 8. Well, this is my h. But now my reference angle opposite, and this is adjacent. I know I'm not using the best. I need to put a little space here next to it. So that's adjacent. Still can't see it. Adjacent. There's an A there now. So now sine, so, is 6 over 10, which reduces to 3/5. And it's different because my reference angle is down here now. My cosine of theta, ca, AH, A is 8, H is 10, which reduces also to 4/5. TOA, tan, TOA, O over A, 6 over 8, which reduces to 3/4. And then the inverses are the reciprocal. So really, the most important skill is, can you set up trig ratios? So can you put sine of the reference angle equals the fraction and then reduce? That's really the most important thing today. So in your homework, it says, find the 6 trigonometric ratios for each triangle. What they want you to do is first and actually, just so our homework's all the same, this will be our reference angle here. So you'll do sine, cosine, tangent of that reference angle, and then also secant, cosecant, tangent, or cotangent of that reference angle. And we'll let the reference angle be here. And for this one, we'll let it be here. This one, we'll let it be here. Make sure you copy that now. Here, we'll let it be here. Here, we'll let it be here. Oh, by the way, notice all of these are right triangles. These do not work unless you have a right triangle. Did you get all those? And then on this one, we'll let the reference angle be here. And for this one over here. So your skill, can you go through and set up sine of theta, cosine theta, tan of theta, secant theta, cosecant theta, cotangent of theta and reduce to fractions. And at the very, very least, you know how to type these in the calculator and get a decimal value. Okay. So what I want you to say is Pythagorean theorem and its converse. And I want you to get that to a 90. Now, special right triangles, I don't think you're ready for that yet. I need to give you a little bit more of a lesson on that. But I do want you to do this one. So let's go ahead and just don't cross off the second one, but you guys just aren't ready for that. There's more to know. So get those. Work. Is that page I was talking about. Today's the 15th. Let's do the 16th. Intro to trigonometry. And then let's rate ourselves on our learning. Learn about basic trig ratios. That really is the most important. I wouldn't say learn. Can you set up a trig ratio? For well, even just less than sine, cosine, tangent, and the inverse of sine, that's what, cosecant? What's that one? Cosecant? Oh, secant, sorry, secant. And cotangent. Can you set up a trig ratio for those 6 trig functions? Sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant. Rate yourself. One, two, three, 4. Okay. That's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions.